Hello. 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 Yeah, this thing is audible. Hello. Hello. Yeah, this thing is audible. Hello. So a few days ago, I was looking at the JetBrains fleet website. Hello. So a few days, and so fleet will be a text editor, just like VS Code. Probably the same thing. Doesn't really matter. So it's under production, and this is their website, and they probably made it with Tailwind CSS. Doesn't matter. So apart from this cool scrolling effect, what caught my attention in their website was this thing. So whenever I hover on this card, they will, I mean, there will be a pop up or a glowing circle in between, and it moves with my mouse, which I think is really cool effect. So today we'll be reverse engineering this effect with nothing but HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. There will be very little of JavaScript. So even if we don't know JS, um, you can do it. So let's start off by opening VS Code, and let's open up a folder inside my. So I'll just create a new folder called card. So yeah, we have our folder. Okay, and as the HTML file, the CSS file, and the JavaScript file. Cool. Kicking things off with the exclamation mark, which will provide us with the emit, the boilerplate of the HTML code. We'll just give it a title of cool card, and let's start this website first. Save this, and Alt L and O will create a new live server for us. This is an extension you can add in VS Code. Just give it a few seconds and it will start off our local server in our system. Yeah, so this is our website. You can see the title. So we'll just move this to the second position. Yeah. So the first thing we'll have is a div with the class of card. Inside this div we'll have another div with the icon, and the next one will have a title, and the next one will have description. So for the icon, we'll just go to fontawesome.com and pick up our kits. So add that into the head, and then pick up an icon, let's say fire. So we'll have this cute little icon. This now I'll just put it inside the icon div, and the title will add fire card. The description will use the lorem text placeholders, which is the sample texting service by default in VS Code. For the styling, we'll start off with the body, giving it a height of 100 ph and a width of 100 vw. VH and VW means viewport height and viewport width. So whatever a page will be, it will check the size and move it accordingly. Margin of 0 and padding of 0, because by default there are some margin padding in the body. Add the display of flex, justify content center, line item center, and give a background of black. And we did not link the CSS inside. Yeah, it's working. So while we're at it, we can just add a script src.js script index.js, add a defer so that it can load the JavaScript after the web page is rendered. So if we remove this defer, the JavaScript will be loaded prior to the loading of the rendering of the web page, which is not feasible because at times there are elements that we want to access, but we cannot access through JavaScript because they are not been created yet. So if we add defer in it, it'll move it to the end. It's the similar as make moving this line at the end of the body. Same thing. It's just cleaner this way. So we've added our so we'll go back to the CSS. We'll give the card of height of 400 pixels and a width of 400 pixels, a border of 1px solid RGB 0 0 255. Yeah, and the height isn't working with the we have added align items. Align content is for the grid. Give it this color of white. It's working. While we are at it, let's just give this thing a font family of electric. Yeah, looks good. The title will be having a font size of 2M and font weight of 900. Yes, the icon will be having a font size of 2.5M, and at last the description will be having a font size of 1.5M. So everything's in place. Cool. We'll give the display of flex in the card. Flex direction column, justify center, align center, text align center. Yep, it's working. Let's just give this a padding of 20 pixels, and each element will have a margin of 10 pixels in this top and bottom, not the left and right. Yeah, so we have our spacing in the card, so it looks good. Let's just make the card a little big. 500 pixels would be sufficient for our purpose. Yeah, so what we are trying to achieve is this effect where we hover on the card and this cute ball of gradient appears. So there are a few ways of achieving that. Let's say the first one being we can add a glow, a div, an actual div, give it the specific CSS and put it inside the card, and by default have its display of none, and as soon as we hover we'll just enable the display to block. It will work perfectly, but there's one big flaw. If we do that, we cannot cut off the edges. Like let's say here, if we hover on this, so when I'm moving out my cursor, my glow is not going out. It's the boundary is the card. It's not going out. But if we add the element, the glow will go outside. So that is also a good effect, but it's not what we're trying to achieve. So instead we'll add a background of a radial gradient in this thing. So let's start by without the JavaScript first. Background, not color, radial gradient. So we'll circle at 0 pixels, 0 pixels. We'll give a red of 0% and red of 100%. Yeah, there are some things missing here. So Yeah, so we'll add a no repeat and a border. No, so the title variant should be working. There is something I'm messing with. There probably should be a comma in here. Nope. So the gradient is supposed to be we are reverse engineering this effect, so just inspect this and see what they have done. Yeah, there is a no repeat in border box wise. Let's try and implement that. But the thing is, it's not really working in our case. It should be working here. For some reason it is not. Let's see where we are messing up. Just copy our and so we're doing the same thing. We'll have a circle at then the coordinates, then a color with the percentage, then second color with the percentage again, and then we'll have the no repeat border. So why isn't ours working? Let's inspect this. Why is this an error? Invalid. Why is this invalid? For what reason? Shouldn't be going on this way. Let's see. Yeah, it's working. The radial gradient into my CSS, it's invalid property value for some reason, and let's try this again. Let's do it 0. I'm just matching my CSS with the website CSS, they are pro for obvious reasons. And the percentage. Oh, is there a second bracket? Oh, just stupid. I'm sorry, stupid. So what we had to do was add another bracket there. This and then so we did the exact same thing. Some reasons ours this isn't working. Okay, so they have that's so stupid. Sorry. Yeah. My bad. So I just had to shift the parentheses. I totally forgot. I suck at CSS. Good thing my JavaScript is good enough to cover that up. So yeah. So we'll review this. So it means we are creating a circle gradient at 0 pixels, 0 pixels. Now what this means is this is our rectangle, right? This is our square, and whenever we add pixels inside this, whenever we are trying to create a gradient or a background inside this, I added 0 pixels. So in this respect, 0 0 doesn't mean the center. It means the top left corner. So I'll just show you in a whiteboard. It's fairly simple if you know a bit of Cartesian planes and graphs and stuff. Just load up. So yeah, we have our this is our y-axis and x-axis. This is y and this is x. The positive plane, negative plane, positive and negative. So this is our first quadrant. This is our second quadrant. This is our third quadrant, and this is our fourth quadrant. So in each one of them, the x and y values will differ. In this first quadrant, the x and y both are positive. In the second quadrant, you guessed it, the x is negative but the y is positive, and so on, so yada yada yada. So whenever we create a gradient inside the CSS, it doesn't take this as a bounding box, it takes this as a bounding box, and the entire page is the graph, is the Cartesian plane. This is our element. So when I say 0 0, x and y are 0, it takes the center of the page or of the viewport, but the center of the viewport is the top left corner of this element, right? So this is how it works. Whenever we create gradient, we'll start off here 0 1 0, and from there we'll have to calculate um, our lengths, widths and heights and stuff. We cannot get directly here, we have to calculate this, we have to calculate this, we have to calculate this. Now there's a formula for the distance, we have to just write it down. It's not like we're going to use it in this particular instance, but it is useful in stuff like these. So it is just this is the under root of x2 minus x1 square. I'm really sorry for my handwriting. And plus y2 minus y1 square. This will give us the distance of 2 points. So in this case, our x1 and y1 are 0 0. This is 0 and this is 0, and whatever point we take on the plane, that's this one, and add the values and we will calculate the distance between this and this. It isn't really useful in this particular instant, but it can be useful, so just keep it in mind because it's basic, and because this is how graphics are made in computers. There are different algorithms to display the graphics on a computer. It's not magic, it's pure maths. So yeah, this is it. So that's why when I added 0 pixels and 0 pixels, it gave us this starting off with this on the top left corner. I'm sorry. So we have our gradient, and now all we have to do is so all we have to do is put this inside the JavaScript. I'm not gonna type all of this again, so just copy this. Let's move to our JavaScript, and so while using JavaScript, keep a few things in mind. First, JavaScript is not at all a memory safe language. There are leakages of memory here and there, so you have to bind everything together inside a beautiful const. So we'll name this hover. And so if you are new to JavaScript, or if you are watching this from any other language, you can pass functions in JavaScript as variables. This is called the first class, the functions are being treated as first class citizens. This means functions and variables can be treated the same way. You can pass the functions inside a function as an argument or a parameter, or you can pass a function inside a variable, or vice versa. It's crazy. Most languages won't allow this, but here we are. So we have our bounding container. We'll create card, and the card, dot card. So we have our card, and so we'll add an event listener to this card, which will be mouse move, not mouse over, mouse move. So the underlying difference between mouse over and mouse move is, let's open our whiteboard again. Oops. So they are not exactly same, but they work kind of in the same way. Let's move it aside. Yeah, so let's see, this is our element, right? This uneven square is our element. So if I say mouse over, hear me out, if I say mouse over, and as soon as I put my mouse here, it will complete this the scripting that is inside the event listener, the function. It will execute the function once, and the next time it will execute the function, it will be when I take my mouse off and then put it back in. So it will only do it once, right? We have to do this. But when it comes to mouse move, you guessed it, our function will be executed every time our mouse moves inside this element. Doesn't matter how big of the movement is, how high the coordinates are. If it's 0.01 for the x or y axis, it will execute the function. So there's difference between these two. So we'll add a mouse move and give it a function. Now inside this we'll give a mouse x, that will be e dot client x, and this will be mouse y, the client y. And now we'll do is we'll take the card, we'll add style, and background of this. So it won't work unless we call the function here. There is something, yeah, I'm sorry, this comma, yeah, see, it works. Cool. Now I have to insert the mouse x and mouse y coordinates inside this, right, to make it move according to my mouse placement. And we can do that. There are a couple of methods. First one is the amateur one. We can first write the string till here, then add this, then string till here, then add this, and it's super annoying and not really useful. What we can do is we can remove these regular quotations and add backticks. So the power of backtick string are we can insert variables within our string. That is really useful when writing dynamic code. So dollar and curly parenthesis, we can add a mouse x and then our mouse y. Oh, so right now you must be guessing it's not working, even though our mouse x and y are valid variables, right? I go to console. See, it's console logging everything. The thing is, the explanation. Whenever I'm writing e.client x or e.client y and putting, so this client x is not returning me the x and y positions of my cursor inside this element. No, it is returning me the x and y position of my cursor inside this body. So right now my cursor is at 307, 153 x and y respectively, not in respect to the card but in respect to the page itself. And to fix that we use another method. So this is again, this is our body and this is our card, right? The current case. Right now whenever I move my mouse, it will take it as a whole. It will return me the x and y in respect to the body and not the card, but I want it in respect to the card, right? So what I will do is I'll take this box and I'll subtract it from wherever my mouse is. So let's say my mouse is here, right? So I'll subtract this length from my mouse and it will return me here. It sounds complicated, but it really is not. So if I subtract the width and height of this, or let's say the distance it has from the page itself, if I just subtract that, I'll get my cursor inside this. It was a poor explanation. Let me try it again. So we have our element and the body. So this is the element's distance from the top of the body, and this is the element's distance from the left of the body. And you might have heard top and left are two properties in CSS. They actually give us the distance an element is having from the top and the left. So if I want my cursor to here and I want it to return the x and y in respect to the element and not the page, what I will do is I will subtract this, and this will just give me the in respect of the card. Again, it sounds stupid and it sounds complicated, but it really is not. I'll just show you. So yeah, so to do that, in most languages there are while functions to do that, but in JavaScript it's fairly simple. We give a rect and we'll add, now watch this, get bounding client rect. So this will return get bounding client rect. I mean, this will return the bounding client rectangle, this the width and height, the top and left, this element on the page. It will return the data for this. I'll just remove that console log. See, so now we have our method. Now if I want to get my mouse x, what I can do is client x minus rect dot left. and same goes for the y coordinates, correct, dot top. So what we discussed, it will reduce the distance between the element and its top from the body to give us the element only. And now if I try to do this, yeah, I'm sorry, slight mistake, we have to add pixels in this, totally forgot. And boom, we have our effect. Very simple, a bit of JavaScript, but it's awesome. A slight thing, this is really big right now, right? I can reduce this by adding calc function. You might have seen this in the free website, and make it 0%. I'm sorry, plus 150 pixels. So it will return me this, and this 150 pixels will be the size of the gradient, and this percentage will be the flare it wants. If I do it 100%, you guess it, boom, whole page. And personally, I like this effect way more. It's used in Microsoft some I guess in some apps. I guess, yeah, I've seen this somewhere. In the Microsoft store, there is the hover effect like this, so it's really good. For now, for the sake of the video, we'll keep it 0%. So yeah, this was it. Yeah, one more thing, when we move out in this, it disappears, but it's not. It's simple. We'll just add another event listener, car.add event listener, and this time we'll make it mouse leave. Again a function, and car.style dot black. See? So you guessed it, what we did, right? Whenever we leave the mouse, whenever the mouse leaves, the car will have a background of black. Simple. So this basic JavaScript creates this awesome effect inside this. I'll leave the link to the code pen in the description below, and yeah, that's it.